Nicola, open up mouth. Someone go ahead and end me right now.
Bridgerton Season 3, Part 1 and Part 2 have both been released, and it is vital that we discuss it. My name's Elisa. If you've never met me, my name's Elisa. And today we're here to talk about the #1 show on Netflix, the talk of the town, Bridgerton Season 3. You've been waiting for this season to drop. I've been waiting for this season to drop, and it's dropped. And there are so many questions that I'm going to be asking you. Have those Twitter fingers ready for the comment section. Please have them on standby. Okay, so we have over 8 hours of content that we need to discuss. I am going to split it up into quadrants. Quadrant 1, episodes 1 and 2. Quadrant 2, 3 and 4. Quad 3, 5 and 6. Quad 4, 7 and 8. I'm not going to waste any more of your time because I actually know that this video is going to be very long. So,
spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler! 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 Spoiler alert!
Quad 1. We're starting off the season at the top of the season. Anthony and Kate. Season 2 was my favorite season. In the first quadrant, they're just acting like newlyweds still. Francesca's working her angles trying to become diamond of the season, but from very early on, I can tell this is definitely Lady Violet's thing. Francesca is excited to be married, so she's happy to be in the season, but I don't think she really knows what it entails. She's a young girl. Penelope's back on the market in this season. She doesn't have a friend. She only has Lady Whistledown. Her mom and her sister treat her like caca and they overlook her. We see a lot of Portia this season and I love it. Actually, Portia is one of my favorite characters this entire season. I love to see her play the mother and the father. And even when her husband was alive, she had to play his role. Her 2 oldest daughters kind of rode the wave of just being pretty girls, and Penelope really had to get it out of the mud. And this is why this is Penelope's season. A part of Penelope getting it out of the mud, we see Miss Penelope change her wardrobe, turn some heads, put her foot down to Colin because he was being an asswipe at the end of season 2, talking shit about her. And a part of me even feels like to remedy the situation, he's offered to help her find someone. He's a very smart man. He knows how a girl feels about him. He's like, let me help you find someone else. And this is, we're going to get into my issue with Colin. And then at the very tail end of episode 2, Penelope obviously asked him to kiss her. Here's the $1 million question. I stay up nights thinking about this. Colin has been to 17 countries. He's kissed 800 women in each of the 17 countries, but he has one kiss with Penelope. He's fallen in love, and it's irreversible. I mean, he'd be falling in love. Low-key, Colin might be like a Pisces male. And after the kiss, Penelope has seemingly fallen out of love with him and is ready to move on and navigate her life. That just like tickles my fancy in like a BV way. Quadrant 2, a little bit more has been built out, and I want to talk about the pairings between people. And this one, we're going to start with Cressida and Eloise. This is a very odd pairing. They are very, very different. Everyone is questioning why they're even friends. One thing about Eloise, she can keep that mouth shut. Cressida, she's a gossiper. Cressida, she's a mean girl. Cressida is a bad bitch though. I think Eloise got the most growth from being friends with Cressida because she got to see what it was like being friends with someone who didn't have the support of their family. Cressida had her first real friend and a first friend that like came over to her house and stuff. I really liked this duo, Penelope and her mother. I think that this was the biggest growth in a relationship we've seen all season. Portia does not think very highly of Penelope, but I do believe that Portia was coming from a good place. They're literally about to lose their home. They're about to lose their place in society. Her 2 oldest daughters married men with no title. Like, she's just trying to kind of make sure everybody in herself is okay because her own husband didn't make sure she was okay. And to be honest, that's probably why she ended up with the husband that she did. And I feel like Penelope wanted to rewrite her own history, her story. And I think that's why they butt heads so much. But I love that Penelope kept her foot down. She kept her foot down on Colin. You know what, sisters? Fuck you. You know what, mom? I'm doing me. And I'm talking shit in Lady Whistledown. She's in the bad bitch club. Lord Devlin and Pushin P. I'm gonna call her Pushin P this section because she was awful at talking to men. She sounded like how I did when I would talk to like boys in the 7th grade when I was in the 7th grade. It was awful. But she learned quickly. Another thing about Lord Devlin, I actually liked him. He appreciated everything about her. He appreciated, I mean, she was acting up a little bit at first, but he appreciated her honesty. He appreciated like that she liked to stay in the house even though he liked nature. He appreciated that she could take care of herself and she was ambitious and she had hobbies. I mean, yeah, he was trying to get married and run off somewhere else for 3 years. She wasn't very clear on what she wanted in marriage to begin with. She was just like, I want to be married. And I get it, girl. I really, really do. I feel like after 2010 passed, everybody wanted to get married. Another pairing that I really liked this season, Tilly and Benny. We see the birth of their relationship. Tilly is in male spaces. Tilly is smart. Tilly has her own home and her husband left it to her because he passed away. So up until episode 6, if you ever want to be in a situationship or if you ever want to turn your situationship into a relationship, follow along with Tilly until like her last scene of episode 6. So Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, I'm going to try to remove my thoughts about them after seeing the entire season. If I put myself back into the shoes of the first watch, I think that this was a good match for her. I mean, this is really our first time hearing Francesca even speak. She's having her own moment. She's basically the diamond of the season. And she found a pair with a man, Lord Kilmartin, that seemed to be just that. Their first conversation was silence. And they both loved it. They were just like giggling at each other. It was pretty cute, honestly. Now, I personally think they would have been bored of it in like 3 years, but looking into the future causes anxiety. So for here and for now, I was rooting for them. Colin and Pushin P, as said, Penelope was in her bag. She's moving on. She's following the plan that you guys created. She's falling for someone else, and like maybe he's not who you wanted her to be with, but they actually were a really good pair. Colin, how are you going to come up out of the shadows to ruin her fucking engagement? You had so many opportunities to tell her like, hey, I have a crush on you, and you didn't. The only thing you did was step out of the house when your mom, she's a little messy too, but she loves love, and so what can you say? Actually, what I can say is all that journaling he's doing, he should have been mapping out a master plan. He literally just like f***ed her over in front of the whole ball. The queen's looking at her sideways. Her mom is upset. Her mom is always upset with her. That's just like a story for another thing. And Lady Violet said herself, Colin, you're one of my most sensitive children. His sensitiveness is all over the fucking place. He actually needs to journal a little bit more. He hops in her carriage, apologizing to her all over again, starts kissing her, starts going to, second base, third base with her. She's not even, I don't even know what third base is. Maybe second. Starts going to second base with her. She doesn't even know that this exists yet. And for the proposal, 3 out of 10. 4 out of 10, because there was an element of surprise. Next section. This is not going to be quadrant 3. This is the hand. Quadrant 3. Okay, the queen. The fact that our Queen Charlotte has to put a non-lethal bounty on Lady Whistledown's head shows me she feels out of control. She might even feel a little insecure. It's not like things that she was saying was false. And if someone could let me know in the comments, I really didn't know like what the queen wanted with having this information. Like, did she just want to have a little bit more control over the ton? I mean, that's the only thing that makes logical sense to me, but I guess it was the 1800s. I don't even know if there was like freedom of speech yet. Another member of the Bad Bitch Club, and we're gonna even give her the CFO title, Cressida. So Cressida and Eloise's friendship is pretty much over because she's lied to the public. Eloise knows it. That doesn't even matter. Imagine if your dad was trying to pimp you out with his friends 3 times your age. You're gonna have to figure out how to make some shit shake if you don't want to do that. I think if Cressida used her energy to be a little bit less messy and a little bit more strategic, she would be unstoppable. And you know what? I appreciate her mother. Her mother really did know her daughter, but it was her burden to bear. She did decide to tell everybody that she was Lady Whistledown so she could get some money and just run off and have her own flat. And in a way, I think that's how Eloise rubbed off on her. But yeah, she was looking a little dumb. She was not very prepared. I mean, how could she be? She has had everything given to her entire life. E for effort, Cressida. Penelope and Portia, this is where their relationship starts to come to a head. Penelope had to flex her like backbone. She had to overlook her mommy issues. She had to put her big girl trousers on, and she had to look out for herself. She was under a lot of stress. She didn't have her best friend. Her mother needed to be an outcast, the way that she's been casting out her own daughter. And I think that that could have even been the moment where Portia really was like, okay, I have to respect this woman, my daughter, if I want to keep her in my life. But we see a flipping character in Portia Featherington here. And it also could be because she is a cloud chaser, but I really do believe their bond got thicker. And I do believe Prudence noticed that. Tilly and Benny, this duo just continues to grow stronger. I think Benedict is really, really starting to like her. I think Tilly's really liking him. I think that he really likes her. But she throws a curveball at him, one that I honestly could have seen for him since season 1, and I'm so happy that we finally saw it. But she did about it in a horrible way. You just can't throw like a menage on somebody without having a conversation without it. You scared the man off, and you're lucky he came back in quad 4. Colin and Eloise. Here we see a lot of that sibling care for each other. They were at odds a lot of the season because Colin decided to wife up her ex-best friend equally. She was keeping a secret from him, knowing that he wanted this lady ruined, his fiance. This could have really broke siblings, probably more so in this day and age. I loved that sibling love that they had. It was like genuinely real fighting. Eloise was genuinely really hurt they were getting married as she should be, and he was just like, I don't even understand why you guys aren't friends. There'd be a time where you would love that she's your sister. Like, oh, Francesca and Lord Kilmartin, they're developing, they're progressing, they're saying 16 words to each other a day instead of 4. And to be honest, whatever Francesca is doing with those eyes, she's doing it right because she gets an engagement out of it. Lady Violet still low-key looking like a hater, and she was getting some attention from Lady Danbury's brother at the same time. So I think she was like, okay, like let me peel back a little bit. I got something to pay attention to, even though she was trying not to look, but she was looking. Eloise and Penelope, very pivotal part of their relationship, and it came to a head and then it burst, but they came even closer. But I love to see Eloise be like, I'm about to snitch on you. And Penelope, obviously she had so much going on with losing her friend about to snitch in front of everybody at her engagement party, her engagement may be going off, her losing 2 proposals in a season. I would have passed out too, to be honest with you. She was doing too much consciously to just keep being conscious. Part 4. Let's start off with Colin and Penelope. And we're going to also end with Colin and Penelope, but I just want to talk about them most specifically for like the first portion of quad 4. Colin obviously finds out that Penelope is Lady Whistledown, but he's already taken the girl's virginity. And so now he feels like he's been trapped. 1, she didn't even know sex existed, so she couldn't have trapped you. You did that on your own. And then he's like, I'm a man of honor, so now I have to marry you. You're just upset that you didn't know the truth, and that's okay. Him being so sensitive, he just couldn't fathom the idea that she wrote about him, even though he deserved it. Then he was just like trying to run around in her face, like,
Oh my god, but I'm Colin. Oh my god, but I'm charming. Like,
if I were her, I know I would have done the same thing to him. Still yet, he decided to marry her, even though he was upset with her, and then he was like stonewalling her. Just don't marry me if that's what you want to do. Like, it's not too late to not walk down the aisle. We've seen it before. Your own brother did it. He was at the aisle. Lady Danbury, she's that girl. She's close friends with the Queen. She's close friends with the Bridgertons. She might be the one most in power. But when it comes to her brother, she had a lot that she had to unpack. And knowing that her brother had eyes for her bestie Violet too was a lot for her. Knowing that all the anger that she had been like building up since childhood, it had to come to a head, and I'm so happy that it did. And I'm also so happy that Violet is a good friend and said, before anything goes on here, you know you need to fix shit with your sister, unlike Colin, her son. She probably saw what was happening with the son and was like, wait, let me learn from his mistakes. Tilly and Benny. So after so much deliberation, Benny decided to join in on the fun. Am I surprised? No, I'm not surprised. As said, I saw this for him a long time ago, and I'm really happy for him that he did that. But here's where you want to stop taking Tilly's advice. You can't open somebody up to a world that you wanted them to be a part of, and then when they get engulfed in that world, try to be like, oh wait, let me close the door. This is why you need to have conversations with people beforehand, because now you caught feelings and you lost out on your man. Penelope and Portia. So this is the mother-daughter relationship Penelope deserves. She has the respect of her mother. She has the respect of her family. There was so much growth to be had. There was so much uncomfortability, and she weathered every single storm, even though sometimes she was just passing out. Portia was like, I think I need to take a page out of my own daughter's book. And on top of that, Penelope was the one to give her the son that they needed to stay in the house, the fake contract for. This was beautiful development throughout the season. I feel like Portia is an even more genuine person now because of it. And like people can change at any age if they want to. And Miss Portia, she probably didn't want to, but she was forced to, and that's even better. She let the changes roll in, and that's why she still has her house. Eloise decides she needs bigger for herself. She needs to get out of this society. She needs to run off with Francesca, and she needs to discover new things. She wants to be educated. She wants to see the world. I love this for Eloise. Cressida, you did your big one. You fell short this time, but you know what? I have belief in you. I have faith in you. I loved seeing you try. She was doing some fake shit, but to be honest, I don't blame her at all. I said her dad was trying to pimp her out with a man 3 times her age. I wanted to vom for her, and I hope in season 4 we see her again. Francesca and Kilmartin. Okay. So they got married in a very silent, secluded, basically elopement. I don't know. I hate to say it, but I think Francesca is already bored of him, because what was that look she had at Michaela Sterling? Why was she looking at her like that? And actually, I would love for you to let me know in the comments, because my first thought was like, oh my God, is this girl like famous or something? And then my second thought was like, is she jealous of his cousin? And then my third thought was like, that was actually those are my only 2 thoughts. And then I went on to TikTok, because that went over my head, and people were like, oh my God, she likes her. And I was like, so what do you guys think? Do you think she likes her? Okay, Penelope. She had so much grace and so much poise, and she decided she wants to remain being Lady Whistledown, CEO of the Bad Bitch Club. She's ambitious, she's smart, she's a renowned writer. She didn't let her man in his jealousy bring her down. She stayed up. And the only way that he could get better is if he came up with her. I love Colin for taking accountability. Bridgerton season 3, you guys. It was a whirlwind. I'm low-key happy that they gave it to us in 2 parts to digest, because watching that all at once, I think my brain literally would have deactivated. I would have passed out. What did you like about the season? What storyline was your favorite? If you liked anything that you saw, please like, share, comment, subscribe, and please comment if you have any of those answers to those questions that I asked you throughout Bridgerton season 3. Out now, watch, form your own opinions, and I will see you back here Sunday.